We're ready to go.
Okay. I am here with Charlie and Sam Sandefer, and you guys are celebrities around Acton because you're both featured heavily in the book Courage to Grow by your mom. And in a way, in some of the videos and other things, we got to see you grow up some. And I have to tell you, I'm super impressed with both of you. Charlie, I saw you speak to a group of Acton owners, of course, on video. And I don't mean to disparage you, but you sounded like a polished politician almost, just in how well you. So that was fantastic. And then Sam, I was looking through the quests and the contests that they have for the owners, and I saw a framework that you had written for, I believe, behavior in Acton Studios. And I read that, and I expected at the end to see who it was written by, and maybe a doctorate of psychology with a whole bunch of letters behind their names. However, it was written by you, and I was just that much more impressed with who you two are and what you do. It's an honor to have you here.
Well, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. We are talking to folks who are considering Acton Academy, and there's obviously a lot of pros to it, some cons, I imagine, and we can talk about that a little bit. But I was going to just get started by telling everyone that you two are basically the who was Acton Academy was started for. And as I understand it, both of you started just coming out of Montessori school as first graders, I believe, into Acton Academy, and you went through the entire system. Sam, you every year, and Charlie, you went through every year except one in high school. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So I actually had the enlightening experience to go to a traditional, like a classical education school for my freshman year of high school. So I've gotten to see both sides of it. But we went straight from Montessori into Acton. So our entire elementary and middle school lives were in that system. And we didn't really know anything else at that point.
Okay.
So our entire educational lives have basically, except for 1 year for me, been Acton Academy.
Gotcha. That's wonderful. And you graduated last year, is that right?
Yes, sir. So I graduated last year, and Sam just graduated a few weeks ago. So we're both officially out of the Acton system now, but Sam just barely.
Yeah. Gotcha. That's that's wonderful. If I can, and Sam, I'll start with you here. What's your favorite thing about Acton?
Sure. So I think to start, you are learning how to be a better person overall, and you learn a lot more about yourself. And so I think I know myself a lot better than I would have if I went to a traditional school. I know what I like to do. I know what I don't like to do. I know my gifts, and I've gone to practice those gifts. And so I think that's the biggest opportunity, is the introspective part, where through learning, through doing, learning to be, you actually learn more about yourself. And that becomes a powerful way to look towards the future and start to practice skills now that will compound into something that turns into a calling, or down your hero's journey, finding something that you really love to do. And that's really only an opportunity you get at Acton.
That's great. Yeah. Do you mind like an example of that, or something that you learned about yourself?
Yeah. So for me, I think I'll take the example of starting middle school through my apprenticeships is where I think I learned the most about myself. In middle school, I was very into cars. I still love cars, but I was very into cars and mechanics, and I wanted to do something with cars and mechanics. That's all I knew. And I think if I hadn't gotten the opportunity to explore that today, I would still think that. But I did get the opportunity to explore it. And my first apprenticeship was with a auto shop. I worked on a Ford Bronco with a specific mechanic, and he mentored me. And I really enjoyed it. But I also felt like there was something missing, and I wanted to do more. And so then they leveraged into mechanical engineering, was the next step up from that. And I really enjoyed the thinking process of it, and also the material of it. I love, spatial thinking and really building something material. So I really enjoyed that part. But again, I felt like I wanted to level that up even more. And so my last three apprenticeships, the two apprenticeships after that were at consulting firms for manufacturing companies. And while consulting might not be my favorite medium of it, the operations side is something I got to see a look into, the operational side of manufacturing. And I started to actually really enjoy it. And it felt more purposeful than auto mechanics. But I still felt that same sort of childlike wonderment with what was happening and everything I was seeing. That's where I stand today, with knowing I love operations and manufacturing, and specifically with mechanical engineering projects. My most recent apprenticeship with X got abbreviated by COVID, unfortunately, but in their school at Astra. But seeing a company like that inspired me even more. But I think if I had started with just what I knew, the little I knew about myself with cars and mechanics, I would still be stuck there today, where I went on that entire journey to learn so much about myself and started really practicing skills like Lean Six Sigma and operations and business and some financial stuff to go along with that, to really set myself up to actually be successful in that industry and do something important. So I think now I feel more prepared because of that experience. I would have been where I was in middle school now if it wasn't for Acton.
That's amazing. And so all of this, find a calling to change the world. It's not just lip service. It's real.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. And Charlie, how about you? Your favorite thing about Acton?
I think my favorite thing is something that probably scares a lot of prospective parents, but it's the most valuable part for me, at least, of Acton Academy, which is the encouragement to fail and the emphasis on failing early, cheaply, and often. Because traditional education, it's all about getting good grades. You're a loser if you fail a test, or the emphasis to get into college is all based on your GPA. And it creates tunnel vision for a lot of people, where they will do whatever it takes to be a perfectionist and not get bad grades. And they'll put all their time and energy into academics, which is important, but that's not life. And it creates people who are scared to fail, who don't have resilience in when they do fail and can't get back up when they're knocked down. And it creates people who won't achieve to their potential in the real world. We fail every year, every week. You fail on something and you make a mistake. And that's part of project-based learning. It's part of not having an adult tell you exactly what to do. And it creates resiliency, and it creates even an eagerness to fail, to stretch yourself to the point where, you're at your maximum level, and, you're going to stretch yourself to a point where you break, and then you learn from that and come back and try again. And it creates good character and good resiliency and mental toughness. That's really is what matters when you're in the real world, whether you're starting a business or doing something difficult in your industry. Then you have the ability to overcome that, and you're not just stuck treading water or feeling stressed or feeling like you're a loser or having imposter syndrome. But that helped me, especially going to college and experience failure there. I was able to bounce back much faster than my peers were. That's what I've seen the effects of that already. And I know down the line that'll help me change the world in a major way by being able to fail and come back from it.
That's wonderful. And you said you're in college now, or are you taking a gap year?
So I just finished my first year at Georgia Tech, and I'm transferring to Texas A&M in the fall.
Oh, all right. Class of 94 here. Yeah.
But going into college, especially at an engineering school like Georgia Tech, a lot of people are really high strung, type A, wanted just good grades at all costs. And it's not like I shunned academics completely, but I was able to pursue other things at the same time. And when I experienced failure, it didn't wreck my week, and I wasn't a mess about it. And it I think benefited me greatly. So that's, at least at this point in my life, where I've seen the most value. And it's my favorite part, because I've realized how important it is for everyone's journey.
That's awesome. Can y'all share just like a favorite memory or something that came along the way during Acton? It can be anything.
There's so many good ones.
Yeah. I think it might be a bit of recency bias, but earlier this year, the Launchpad group went on a backpacking trip in Colorado for 5 days.
Oh, cool.
No cell phones, leave no trace. So we carried everything on our backs. And it was a really cool experience where you got to learn more and build the tribe and really learn more about your peers. And it set up Launchpad to be really close for the rest of the year. But that experience itself was really unique and cool.
Very cool.
I think for me, for a few years, we did a case study at the start of every year, an Acton MBA case. And then we go hold the case at the MBA space and compete against the Acton MBAs. And it was a lot of fun, because we had a great time prepping it. It's one of those things where we pushed everything else aside for a week, for 5 days. And every minute of every day was focused on prepping the case. And everyone was in on it. And we were all a team working together. And then you go to space prepared, you're dressed up, you've got your notes, you had the case in front of you, and we could hang with the Acton MBAs and hold a case discussion with them. And that was a lot of fun because it brought us together closer as a community. But you also got to do something real world against people who are about to go into entrepreneurship or already are entrepreneurs and know their stuff and they've worked hard, and you get to go in and spar with them a little bit. And it was always a thing I looked forward to. And afterwards, it was always a great celebration, and everyone felt better and more energized after the experience.
Oh, that is so cool. Yeah. And I heard that y'all not only held yourselves up really well, but you actually smoked them, is what I heard on the second go around. I don't know if that's...
I was trying to be humble.
Yeah, I think that was your dad. I heard on a podcast talk about that. So that's very cool. Are there any bad times or things that maybe weren't so good?
There definitely are times where we do lots of sort of cultural experiments, you could say. We try new rules, we try new things, and sometimes those don't work out and they have consequences. So there are times where the group feels more split apart, where there's conflict, and it's a small portion of the time, but it does need to be resolved. And we actually have improved a lot resolving those conflicts. And so it's probably more beneficial in the end. But during the times it becomes hard when there's conflict in the studio, and it happens there's probably once a year that there's a time of conflict that needs to be resolved. But it's part of building a culture, and it's not necessarily a flaw because you end up learning more, but it feels like a flaw when you're in a culture crisis, is what we call them. So I would say the culture crisis is the bad side.
Gotcha. Yep.
I think to echo off of Sam a little bit, the cultural crisis is always, because it's coming at some point. To prospective parents, it's something that if their child comes home and is talking about it, and I feel like the whole school's falling apart and the studio is falling apart. That's just a natural cycle of the process, because since we're not led completely by adults and we don't have strict structure around what we do, there's openings for people to get complacent or mediocre, or the culture can fall into shambles. And it's just natural, because it's like that. It's on a micro scale, but it's like the quote of hard times create strong people create good times, create weak people, or whatever that cycle is. The culture gets so good that you can become complacent and everyone's vulnerable to that. And then it starts to degrade and the entropy kicks in and chaos occurs, and you have to revisit the contracts and bring everything back. Then it can feel like the world's ending at times. It can be really uncomfortable because it feels like your peers, the people around you who you rely and trust, are turning away and everyone's mad at each other and you're unproductive. But after about a week, when you come together and resolve it, the culture comes back stronger. It's like broken bones heal stronger than they were originally. You have to go through that conflict, and it has to be uncomfortable in order to grow. So the culture is continually getting better, but it does hit those valleys where it just feels like it's falling apart. And it takes sheepdogs to step up and lead and bring it back, which is an experience you wouldn't get at a traditional school with adults telling you what to do. It's painful, but it's necessary for the growth of the studio.
Beautiful. And I imagine that not only the culture gets better, but all of the people in the culture get better having dealt with it. So that's awesome. Charlie, and actually, Sam, this is open to you as well, but just, I know you did go to the other high school, traditional learning or whatnot. And I'm just curious, we touched on it earlier, but what do you feel the biggest differences are?
It's a great question. There's a lot. I think that the most stark ones are and how you push yourself individually and how the culture holds you accountable and pushes you. I went to a pretty good classical school in Austin. You wore a uniform and it was very, very nice. And you read the Iliad and the Odyssey. And on the surface, it looks like the best classical education you could get. But the reality is though that underneath that, there's a real layer of the toxic culture. Again, when it's all pushed towards individual achievement and grades, it's not project-based and it's not learner-driven. It's every man for himself. And the culture usually ends up pulling people back and encouraging you to be cool and be lazy in a way, not take what you're doing and making it meaningful seriously. So I found myself, I was equipped from Acton. I was able to get my work done well, but I became lazy and complacent. And I wasn't doing, honestly, what I should have done. I was wasting my time. And it took mentors stepping in that wasn't my parents to tell me that hold up a mirror and say, hey, that you're might be having fun, but you're really burning valuable time doing this. But Acton's an empowering culture. It pushes all the Eagles to do their best. It's the cool thing to do is be a leader in the community and bring people together. It's not to go against authority and push people apart. And I think traditional education, because it's so structured and you have adults ordering you what to do, it's natural for kids to rebel. They don't want to sit at a desk all day. It's not that it's an issue with the students, it's an issue with the adults being the authority. And when you give that responsibility and that authority to the heroes, and they're being able to build a community themselves and build it in the way that they feel is productive and that they take real pride in, you get a really healthy space with people who want to push everyone to be their best. And you'll go through those dips and valleys, those cultural crises, but the net average is way better than a traditional school because you're giving responsibility to teenagers who want that responsibility. In high school, they're ready for it and they're asking for it. And even elementary schoolers, they want to be treated like an equal to adults. They don't want to be treated lesser than or that they're not capable. And that's what traditional education does. It treats you like these people know better than you, no matter what their background is. They're older, so they can tell you what's right. And if you disagree, you're wrong. And that it creates resentment and it creates a feeling of kind of disconnection. There's not that level of respect that there is at Acton Academy where everyone's on the same playing field and everyone's respected and everyone gets to hold responsibility. And when you give people the reins and you say, hey, this is on you, you can make it whatever you want. You can choose to be mediocre or you can choose to be great. Young people will choose to be great. They're ready for it and they want it. They're just not given the opportunity in traditional education.
That's beautiful. Yeah, this is going out obviously to folks and families who are considering Acton. And I can speak from personal experience when we took our daughter and she stayed in Acton for 2 years and we didn't have a launch pad, unfortunately, for her after that. But we were concerned about pulling out our children out of traditional school. And I'm wondering if y'all have any words for parents and families who might be considering this path versus traditional.
I think it's really scary. It takes a lot of courage to do this. I don't want it to seem, because it can seem like this sometimes, if Acton's the golden solution and if you just do this, everything will be happy and life will be good all the time. The reality is you'll probably face a lot more challenging, uncomfortable times than you would at a traditional school. But that's the value of it. Your child may come home really, really challenged, or they had a tough day. They might have failed something. Exactly. But that's a big opportunity for learning. And it takes a lot of courage and mental resilience. And it takes a special type of person to take that leap. But everyone's capable of it. It just takes that little bit of courage to overcome the uncomfortability and ambiguity of Acton Academy. You just have to deal with the fact that your child is going to be on their own a little bit more and they're going to have more responsibility. And that opens up the chance to fail. And if you're there and love them and encourage them, it'll work out and they'll be miles ahead of if they were in traditional school. But I guess words of encouragement would be, to sum it up, it's hard and it's uncomfortable and it's scary, but it's worth it. And you just have to take that leap and trust us. I guess we've been through it. We survived. It's well worth it and much better than the alternative, even though the alternative is more comfortable.
Gotcha.
And to add on to that, there are hard times, but there's also, I would say probably 80% of the time is awesome and it's a lot of fun and it's positive. It's not the hard times where you grow the most, but the 80% of the time where it's fun and the community's together and you're still learning a lot, that's the great time. So not only will you have more fun, but you'll have more opportunities for growth. Instead of a steady mediocrity, it's ups and downs, but the ups and downs are what makes it great. And both ups and downs are at a higher level of learning. And the last blockade I think parents have is college. How does a school like this get you into college? A few things I'll say on that. I've taken probably 4 tests in my life, and 2 of them being ACTs. And turns out years of practicing tests doesn't really matter. The people from Acton who have decided college is their path. I've decided college is the path for me. I'm going to Vanderbilt in the fall. We have other Eagles going to the university of their choice. It's not about prestige or academics. It's about leveraging that for what you want to do. And so it has the opportunity to make college really valuable. But then there's people who realize it's not for them, not because they can't do it, but because they really don't want to, and that they want to use that time and that money and that period of their life to work on something else. So I think more than anything, you're giving your child a bigger opportunity by going to an Acton to either choose if college is right for them and practice for it. Because at the end of the day, if they want to really get into a certain college for their, I said NGA, that's a kind of a Acton term, their next great adventure, their hero's journey. If they want to leverage that, they'll have the opportunity to do that. But then the real value comes in when they decide they don't want to do that, because college isn't for everyone. And it's a lot of people go that don't necessarily need to go. And so I think more and more people are realizing that, especially when they get the opportunity to learn more about themselves. So I think you're giving your child a bigger opportunity in many ways by coming to Acton, not lessening the chance of getting into a good college.
I guess before we move on to, I just want to clarify, when I talked about the hard times, that's a tiny amount of the time at Acton. I don't want it to sound like it's all difficult and it's terrible all the time.
It's a grind every day. Yeah.
I think, especially I think for elementary school students, and it's same all the way up, but especially for younger heroes, they'll be so much more happier than traditional school. But I think the hurdle for parents is that small amount of time that it's really hard. It can discourage you from it, but if you can push through that, it's better. I don't want to sound like it's terrible. It's all doom and gloom. It's so happy, and the heroes at our campus and all the campuses we visited are joyous, and it's a wonderful community. But it's mountains and valleys, and if you can just push through the hard times, there won't be that slow kind of sad extinguish of their flame and their passion and their love of learning. It'll just be a little bit harder at certain points in the road. So I just wanted to clarify that it's not all bad. Yeah. It's way better. There's just some pain points along the way.
That's awesome. That's really wonderful. And now I'm curious, because I consider that people who've gone through Acton to be Green Berets at life, just being able to get this kind of experience and everything. So what does the future look like for y'all? Just anything that you have in mind, or some ideas or dreams or anything along those lines?
I guess I can go first. I'm looking forward to College Station in the fall. I'm really excited to be an Aggie. And my passion is aviation. And so I'm just continuing to work along that path and get more endorsements and ratings and work on becoming a better pilot while also getting an engineering degree. I have some optionality in what I do after college. Nothing's nailed down yet, but there's a lot of exciting opportunities, and I'm really passionate and excited to keep pushing and change the world in some way through aviation. Sam, you can share what you're doing next too.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm going to Vanderbilt for mechanical engineering. And like I talked about with my journey before through apprenticeships and stuff, I'm looking forward to doing business operations in the manufacturing industry. I right now am not sure exactly like what sector of manufacturing, but I do know I want to do some sort of operations and improve the world through innovation and creating something new, and also something new that works in the marketplace, not just something new for the sake of innovation.
That's beautiful. Guys, I really appreciate your time on coming on to this and talking with us and talking with the families who might be blessed by this and might run away scared or just to embrace this completely. I really appreciate that. And I think you know this, but I hope you know how special you both are and what you're doing in the world. So thank you very much for your time and doing that and just leading the way for lots of other folks.
We appreciate you giving us this platform to speak to some new people, and Acton's, it's changed our lives in such a major way, and the impact we've seen it have on other people as well. It's a gift that we've got to experience this and grow up in it, and any chance we have to share it with people and continue to get as many people as possible in the system and in the network, and grow this to reach as many young people as we can. It's always a great opportunity for us. So we are really appreciative of the time and the ability to speak to you and through you to some great prospective parents as well.
Thank you. All right, guys, we appreciate it. You have a wonderful day. Enjoy your vacation.
Have a great day. Thanks.